Hello, my name is Tomo, and today I would like to show you how I rebuilt my gate recently. I had one of those horrible gates, all wood, and I had serious issues with it. It was sagging, it didn't work, it didn't go the way it was supposed to go. I also have, it was a double, which is great. I could, pull in and out cars, my trailer and stuff like that, but it was also narrow. So it was sagging, it looked bad, so it was time for me to rebuild. Instead of making it out of wood, the same way it was, I decided to upgrade. So I decided to build it European style. So first of all, what that means is that I didn't try to go outside necessarily. You're not gonna be able to tell. My slope is actually, it made it harder. That was one issue with the old gate. My slope, it was sloping up outside towards the road, so it didn't make sense to open up the gate because that hits the ground, right? So that's not a good idea. Instead of opening outside, now the new gate opens inside. That's a huge upgrade. I also made it wider. There was a post in that corner. Hopefully you can see that. I pulled that out. So now I only have a corner post. Obviously you already see the third big upgrade is that the frame is actually made out of steel and I welded everything. So it was not too hard, to be honest with you. Unfortunately, my timing wasn't the greatest because steel is very expensive right now. So this is about, I was helping my neighbor doing his side and also have a small 6-foot piece. So all in all, this is a 23-foot fence or gate. The gate itself is, I believe, I want to say 12 feet, about 12 feet, the moving part. So yeah, steel was very expensive, unfortunately. The way I did it, I just simply dug out all the old posts. The concrete was already cracked, it was all wood. I managed to just pull the wood out. I used my neighbor's big demolition jackhammer, and that helped me to remove all the stuff. The new posts, I wanted to make sure they last a long time, so this is all 11 gauge steel. The posts are 3x3s, and the little like the door itself, the little thing here, that's 1 inch and a quarter by 1 inch and a quarter, also 11 gauge. I bought these Delios, cast iron covers, and the hinges, these are one of these well-done hinges. So, with this is actually a super heavy-duty hinge. It's not gonna break. You don't have to oil it or anything like that. It's super awesome. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't sag. So I highly recommend it. So after I dug the posts out, hopefully you can still hear me. One thing I noticed with the old stuff, and a lot of people make this mistake, and please don't do it because it's a pretty big mistake. So when you put concrete in, when you concrete a post, you have to make sure that the profile of the concrete around it is a cylinder. It's a straight wall up, plumb. Otherwise, most people, they do like, a cone shaped, because that's how they can dig it out. The problem is that you don't know, but the ground has pressure, right? It wants to cave in. So what happens if you have a cone shaped piece of concrete? It's gonna push up. So that's what happened with mine too. It's starting to come up, and it started moving, sagging, and that's why the concrete broke. So what I ended up doing after I dug everything out, I actually made a form. You can buy those forms from Home Depot or Lowe's. It's made out of cardboard, super simple. I actually used just regular, boxes from Amazon, and I made a perfect cylinder. I backfilled around it with dirt. It's gonna compact, so you don't have to worry about that. And the middle, I filled it up with concrete. Also very important, I don't want the steel to rust on the bottom. This is 24 inches down into the ground. What I ended up doing, I welded a 3x3 piece of steel. I cut it out from this piece, and I put it underneath, and I welded all the way around to make it watertight, so the inside the post doesn't fill up with water. It's gonna fill up if you don't do that. That's why most, you know, like these galvanized posts, they are actually pretty bad because the middle eventually will fill up with water, so it's gonna rust, and at some point it's just gonna break. This one is not gonna fill up with water, so I covered every single post like that. You know, welding, I have an $80 Yes welder from Amazon, the cheapest stick welder you can get, and the welds are not horrible, I would say. And you know, I did this on the spot. So the process was, I concreted all the posts, I lined everything up, I ran a line, make sure everything is straight, everything is super plumb, and I usually let concrete to dry for 5 days. Even quickly, please let the concrete dry. That's, I think, one mistake that was made when the fence was installed previously. Things got loaded up too fast, and the post started, you know, wiggling when you start nailing, and the old concrete broke. So I just let the post, you know, the concrete at the post cure like that for 5 days. I don't touch the post, and then I started welding everything on. You know, the hinges, I pre-welded, you know, the gate itself, and two important things. Why I call this European style? Because I actually have a support on the middle. This is very important. No matter what you do, your gate is gonna sag, because the actual post is gonna move, right? So we actually have one of these dealios to support the weight, and I have a lock like this, you know, to close it, so even if you try to get out, it's not gonna move. And then on the inside, you know, I just attached this so I can put on a simple lock and nobody's getting in, right? This is the inside again. This is the inside. So let me show you what this looks like from the outside, because I think it's kind of neat. There is no hardware on the outside, so nobody can tell that I actually have a gate. This is my neighbor's portion. He's still working on that. So yeah, nobody, I mean, you can see, because his gate opens outside, the hinge is penetrating, so that's all you can tell. So yeah, it opens up so nicely. Like, look at this. I'm just gonna push it, and it goes like that, super smooth, super plumb. I spent so much time lining up everything correctly. So this is regular pickets. However, cedar, dog ear, 6-footer, 5 1/4 inch wide, or 3/8 or whatever that is. This is 1.5 inch galvanized, very important. Please use galvanized self-tapping screws from Lowe's. That's how I attach the board. I pre-drilled every single board, and it's super nice. And I put varnish on the pickets. I planed it before, so it's very smooth. Dust is not gonna set on the surface. So yeah, the cost of this, again, this is 23 feet. The lumber was like $300, $400. The steel was $1,100 for 23 feet. It's kind of expensive. It wasn't a whole lot of work, you know. The great thing about welding is that you know, if you screw it up, you just grind it out and you reweld it, so you can't really go wrong with it. So yeah, I highly recommend everybody to do something like this because it's so easy, and this is so much more durable, by the way. So this is Rust-Oleum, and I also primed it with the Rust-Oleum brown primer. Very important. I even did the bottom. So while the post was outside, the bottom 24 inches, I primed it and painted it twice, super thick, even that bottom plate, so it doesn't rust at all. So yeah, it doesn't sag, it opens nice, and now I can pull out my trailer without any problem, and you know, both gates open backwards. So yeah, this is gonna be here for a few decades, I think. Maybe not the wood, but the steel itself. So bye.